Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Bill's Retro Gaming Show. So it is the beginning of October, and we are in the final quarter of 2022. We got October, November, and December left to this year. So that got me to thinking, I wonder if possibly Arcade1up might have any surprises up their sleeves that we haven't seen from them yet that they might announce before the end of the year. We've already gotten two big releases for this year in NFL Blitz, which is out now and available. You can get it in stores. They are shipping directly from Arcade1up now. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which has already seen one round of pre-orders, which sold out really quickly. We all know about that. But, you know, some people out in Australia have actually gotten these in their hands yet, and it looks like we may see these actually start to ship the beginning or early this month, if speculation holds true on that. We're also expected to see another round of sales on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So hopefully, fingers crossed for people like me that didn't get on the first pre-order of that, we will get another shot at it before the end of the year. But beyond those last two, what else might Arcade1up put out before the end of the year, or at least announce before the end of the year? Well, we're going to go back in time. We're going to look at this time last year. We're going to look at some rumors and speculations from this year that we have not seen come to pass yet. We're going to put it all together, and we're going to see if any of it makes sense. And we're going to do it all right after this. Okay, so before we dive into all of that, of course, if this is your first time checking out the channel, or if you haven't had a chance to do it yet, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I put up a new video. Give this one a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. Let me know what you think about where I'm about to go with this speculation. If you think I'm right on, if you think I'm way off base, if there's something that I missed that you expect to see or hope to see from Arcade1up before the end of the year, all right? But let's start by looking back in time 1 year ago to October of 2021. All right, and first we're going to look at this article right here. This is from October 7th of 2021, and this was right after Arcade1up announced two machines that would be coming out later that year, beginning of next year. Forgive me as I go through this because I was not following Arcade1up as closely last year as I have been this year. A lot of you know I only just started my channel February of this year. So I don't remember the exact dates when these were actually available, but that's not the important part here. What I'm really primarily concerned with is the actual announcement of these cabs, not necessarily when they were released. As I said, let's go back. This is October 7th, 2021. This was around the time when they announced Ridge Racer and Tron would be coming out. Now, obviously, you're talking about two cabs here. One was a very specialized cab in Tron. It only had Tron and discs of Tron on it. It was made to resemble the original arcade machine as closely as, you know, they were at the time. And I believe, if I go through this article, I can check for sure, but I believe they announced that the pre-orders for this would be towards the end of October, and these started shipping, like, I think around November of last year. Now with Ridge Racer, I think they started taking pre-orders for that sometime in early November, but I want to say these didn't ship till the beginning of this year, 2022. Again, I apologize, I don't remember exactly, but people can certainly correct me on these dates if I'm wrong in the comments. Again, not the important thing that I really want to focus on here. What I really want to focus on is the fact that these got announced in October of last year. So you had a specialized cab in Tron that was really primarily focused on two games made to resemble the cab as closely as possible, and Ridge Racer, which had, what was it, 5, I think, games on it. Let me go down a little bit here. Yeah, here's the look at the stand-up Ridge Racer. And we had Ridge Racer, Ridge Racer 2, Rave Racer, Ace Driver, and Ace Driver Victory Lap. So this had 5 driving games on it. It went for pre-order in November 22nd of last year. And I believe, again, I want to say these didn't actually ship till the beginning of 2022. So you had a specialized cab in Tron, and you had a driving cab, which is something we have not seen from Arcade1up yet this year, a new driving cab all announced in October. Now, later that same month, Arcade1up would also announce another specialized cab in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, Terminator 2 was obviously very specialized in the fact that it only contained one game, the Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and the fact that it was a shooter, which is something, again, they really hadn't done except for Big Buck Hunter. And something we have not seen from them this year. We have not seen a shooter cab from Arcade1up just yet. But this got announced towards the end of October with a November 1st pre-order. And again, I think these started shipping sometime in December of last year. I want to say December is when people started actually seeing these shipped to their homes. So now, having said all that, we're talking about two specialty cabs, one of which was a shooter, and a driving cab. Two of those things, again, we have not seen a new driving cab or a new shooter/gun game from Arcade1up this year. So what could that possibly mean for the end of this year? So, of course, this is where speculation takes over. I'm going to say I have no knowledge of anything actually coming up. I'm just going by, things that have been looked at throughout the year, my own thoughts, maybe a little bit of my own hopes of what we might see. And I'm going to just kind of project those onto this and let's just see where it goes, all right? All right, so let's start off with an easy one. This is one that has been rumored for the better part of this year, going all the way back to the GameFly leaks in March or April earlier this year. I know, I apologize, you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing about these stupid GameFly leaks, but let's face it, just about every machine that was announced by GameFly earlier this year has come out at this point, except for this one. Time Crisis is the only one we have not seen yet from Arcade1up. So, could this be one of the ones that gets announced before the end of this year? And of course, we're looking at an original arcade machine here because we don't have any, idea of what the Arcade1up one is going to look like, whether or not it's going to be a single gun or a dual gun shooter. Could it possibly have, other games on it? Obviously, we've had some speculation that it will include Time Crisis 2, and Point Blank. Time Crisis 2 and Point Blank are both two-gun games. So, the hope is that if this does come out, that it will have dual guns on it. No idea for sure, but, if I had to put money on any particular machine possibly getting announced before the end of this year, my money's going to go on Time Crisis, if only because it was part of those GameFly leaks, and we have seen all the other ones come out. Now, is it possible that they are planning on this, but they've pushed it back because of screen issues, or because they want to make sure that they get this just right with the dual guns? When you consider Time Crisis 2 was a machine that was a dual player with dual screens on it, making sure that they get it just right so that it plays well, could certainly be a concern. So again, we will just have to wait and see. But as I said, we have not seen a gun cab from Arcade1up this year. The last one was the Terminator 2 one at the end of last year. So could they do the same thing and announce another gun game right around the same time this year? Well, it's a distinct possibility. Well, if you don't think that's a possibility, how about this one? This is Star Wars: The Home Arcade Machine, which of course Arcade1up has already produced and come out and sold out, and they're not making any more of them. Well, there has been a lot of talk and speculation about them potentially bringing this back, or potentially bringing it back as an XL cab. So could we get a surprise announcement before the end of the year that they are either A, re-releasing their original Star Wars Home Arcade, or B, going to come out with a new version of this, possibly in an XL? Well, again, this is a very good possibility. We've had a lot of rumors about this coming out. There has been some little leaked video images showing a full-size Star Wars arcade machine at Arcade1up's headquarters. Now, whether or not they've had that forever, going back to when they first made this one, I have no clue at all. But hey, this is definitely a distinct possibility on the list for something that they could release before the end of the year. Now, I brought up Tron Because, again, Tron was a specialty cab. And when I say specialty cab, I mean, or I should say, maybe I should say specialized rather than specialty, in the fact that it was a cab modeled after the original Tron. It only had a couple of games on it. And when you consider Star Wars, I would kind of put Star Wars in that same, kind of vein. It has the it's got Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. It only has those 3 games on it. It is designed to look very similar to an original Star Wars arcade machine. It has that yoke controller on it, which really only goes with games like this. So, could they release another specialized cab in Star Wars at the end of this year? Now, we've already had one this year when you consider Dragon's Lair. I would consider Dragon's Lair a specialized cab because it was designed to look like the Dragon's Lair machine, and it only has 3 games on it. Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp, and Space Ace. So are we due for another specialized cab from them that's designed to be a very specific machine with only a handful of games on it, and not one of these big legacy cabs with dozens of games on it? Well, again, if I was going to put my money on one, my money would be on them either re-releasing Star Wars, maybe updating the Wi-Fi, or maybe even possibly going to an XL version. My hope is for an XL version, but I'll be honest with you, if they just re-release this because I missed it the first time around, I would jump on this really quick. So I got my fingers crossed on Star Wars getting announced before the end of the year. All right, so I'm just going to bring up this blurry image real quick and talk about this real quick because, again, this was making the rounds like a month ago. This was a video that was supposedly shot at Arcade1up's home in Miami. You know, obviously, it was a very quick video panning around for some stuff, but people really focused on this yellow Sonic cab. The one right next to it was supposed to be Tapper with a fridge built into it. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that one. Is it a possibility? Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't hold my breath on them releasing something that you could put a fridge in. You never know. But let's just talk about Sonic, and let's talk about one other that's not, on this screen here, and that would be Double Dragon. Both of those have been rumored earlier this year that we would see a Sonic arcade machine and that we would see a Double Dragon. And of course, there was another video leak from down in Miami at Arcade1up's little pop-up store showing a Double Dragon cab there. So could we see either of those get announced before the end of the year? Again, both of those are very good possibilities because we have not seen them yet, and there have been leaked images of those two being made. Now, again, whether these are just prototypes and are not designed for release, no idea. But of course, these things don't get leaked by mistake. I think we all know that by now. Most of these leaks tend to happen on purpose. So could we see Sonic again? Another thing I would call a specialized cab because you're probably only going to have a handful of games on it. There's a Sonic arcade game. There's the Sonic console games. There's Sonic Fighters. There's a couple of games that could possibly go on that. Double Dragon, again, maybe specialized with just Double Dragon 2, Double Dragon 3. Maybe they put something else on it. Maybe Combat Tribes. There's a few other games that could possibly go on it. We'll have to wait and see. But again, if I'm just talking rumors and speculations, if I'm just wondering what we might see before the end of the year, these are another good bet on possibly seeing either Sonic or Double Dragon or both get announced before the end of the year. All right, and I am just going to wrap up my thoughts and speculations here with one more cab that we have had zero thoughts on this possibly coming out from Arcade1up, or at least not to my knowledge we have, but I keep bringing it up maybe just because it's on my wish list and I would love to see them do this. But this is Daytona USA. Now, again, this time last year, Ridge Racer, a driving game, got announced. Went up for pre-order in November, came out early, sometime I believe, I'm going to keep wanting to say, I think it was January of this year when that finally actually got released. So again, I'm going to say we have not seen a new driving cab from Arcade1up this year. The fact that Ridge Racer got announced at the end of last year, even if it didn't ship to the beginning of the year, I'm not counting that as a this year cab. I'm counting it as a last year cab because that's when it got announced. And we have not seen one. So could we see another driving cab get announced before the end of the year? If we do, Daytona USA is a good bet. They have a relationship with Sega. There's a bunch of games that they could put on this for sure. Probably going to be a stand-up, probably not going to be a sit-down. I don't think they plan on really going that sit-down route anymore with these cabs, but, you know, hey, certainly a possibility. All right, so there you have it. I know I kind of went rapid fire with that, but, you know, I just wanted to throw a bunch of those out there and see what everybody thinks of my picks here. Is it possible that we could see Arcade1up release more cabs before the end of the year? Like I said, they announced 3 different ones in October of last year. So could we get another set of announcements this month or maybe into November, right before the holidays, of a few more cabs? You know, there is a lot of thought that, you know, there's a surprise waiting to happen from Arcade1up, that something that wasn't on those GameFly leaks is scheduled to at least be announced before the end of this year. Could that be Star Wars? Could that be Sonic or Double Dragon? Could it be a new driving cab? Time Crisis is the only one that hit those GameFly leaks, and we haven't seen it yet. So could that get announced anyway before the end of this year? You know, we're due for a gun game. We're due for a driving game from them. So anything is possible. I said, just wanted to throw this out there, put a quick video together, get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Tell me what you think. Do you think we're going to see something else from Arcade1up before the end of this year? All right. Like I said, I said at the beginning, I know Blitz is now shipping. People are starting to get that. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going to start shipping soon. They're going to do another round of sales for that. So if you missed it the first time, keep an eye out. There will be an opportunity to buy it again, as far as I'm aware, before the end of this year. I know people were, I feel kind of burned on some stuff that happened with Blitz and what might be happening with Marvel vs. Capcom. Let's push that aside. Let's push that aside for this video. Let's talk about what could possibly be next. All right. I didn't want to get into that at all. I think people have talked about that enough. I really wanted to focus on, is there anything else coming from them before the end of the year? So let me know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to see Time Crisis? Do you think maybe they'll re-release Star Wars or put it out in an XL? What about Sonic or Double Dragon? Do you think those are real, or do you think those are just prototypes that will never see the light of day? And finally, if they do a driving cab, what do you think? Daytona USA? Good thought. Or could they possibly do something else? All right. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I will see you again real soon. Have a great day.